our Turning Point USA family, but I want you guys all to see the Medal of Freedom and be able to look at it in the back of it. You guys are all part of the legacy. So and then on the back, it's the first and last time they'll put a cross on it. But yeah, you guys see. I literally will stand here so all of you guys. Like I don't care. Everyone can have their moment and see.
Yeah, we're just not gonna take it. Thank you.
Look closely at this. Erika Kirk appearing calm and composed just days after her husband's tragic and very public death. She's smiling, holding up her Medal of Freedom like she's celebrating an honor, not mourning a loss. Millions have seen this clip and can't stop asking the same haunting question. What's going on here? Even professional body language analysts have examined the footage, and their conclusions are downright unsettling. People are wondering, is this really how a grieving wife behaves right after losing her husband? Or is there something deeper, something much darker hiding behind that smile? Stay with me, because what you're about to see might make you rethink everything you believed about this story. Here's where it begins. As you probably know, Charlie Kirk, a major voice in conservative politics and the founder of Turning Point USA, died suddenly during a public event. Whether you agreed with him or not, his energy and influence were undeniable. But that's when things started getting strange, because soon after his death, his wife Erika Kirk appeared in public. Again, grief looks different for everyone, and no one can dictate how someone should mourn. Still, when you watch her interviews and public appearances, something just feels off. And I'm not alone in that feeling. Even Joe Rogan brought it up on his podcast, dissecting the strange circumstances around the event and ending with a chilling statement. None of this really makes sense. But what truly set the internet ablaze was when body language experts started breaking down Erika's every move, every facial expression, every subtle gesture, frame by frame. And what those experts uncovered is genuinely unnerving. In today's video, we'll examine every perspective. Joe Rogan's skepticism about how the investigation was handled, a frame-by-frame breakdown of Erika Kirk's body language, and heated comparisons to how other widows have reacted in similar tragedies. We'll also explain why people online have started calling her the Happy Widow. Believe me, you'll want to watch till the very end. But before we judge Erika's behavior, we have to rewind and look at what actually happened to Charlie Kirk. The deeper we dig, the stranger the story becomes. Charlie was the driving force behind Turning Point USA, a youthful, influential leader with millions of followers, and then, almost overnight, he vanished from the public eye. That's when Joe Rogan got involved. His take is worth hearing. He didn't just repeat the talking points. He probed the inconsistencies, questioned the official timeline, and highlighted details that don't quite add up.
I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird shit going on with this.
I know.
First of all, there was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombings. He called in a fake bomb at another place. And then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that.
And a guy wrote, this guy got what he deserved. No, he didn't. He had open debates. That takes courage. So if you didn't agree with him, you could come and speak. What's wrong with that?
According to Joe Rogan, there was an older man spotted at the scene on the very day of the incident, someone whose odd behavior and cryptic remarks immediately drew attention. What's strange is that this same man, as some reports claim, has been seen at several major events before, even linked to previous disturbances. He was taken into custody right after the incident due to his suspicious conduct, and as Joe noted, that made any follow-up questioning nearly impossible. Rogan didn't mince words. He said the odds of the same individual showing up at all these unrelated events are practically zero. And statistically, he's right. When you factor that into any probability model, the outcome seems almost impossible to believe. But the confusion only deepens from here. The official report names a 21-year-old as the main suspect, and what's most shocking is the type of equipment allegedly used, a World War I era antique without a serial number, supposedly disassembled, carried in pieces, and reassembled within minutes.
This kid who's not military trained, this guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? How come nobody was like, there's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs? You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? Like, that's insane. So he's on the roof, he shoots, he jumps from the roof. He jumps down 14 feet.
Yeah, we saw didn't they have video of him jump? Somebody had a cell phone video of him jumping.
There's
down,
a video
right?
of him jumping. So this guy, whoever it is, jumps off of the roof and lands, whether or not he's even the guy who shot him. Maybe he thought he was going to shoot him. Maybe he's a patsy. Maybe he did it.
I feel like he's a plant. Did you see the video? Did you see the person doing the investigating on his mom's Facebook?
No.
You haven't seen this? Have you seen that, Jamie? Some dude online.
His mom's got a weird face.
Joe Rogan, who actually understands the mechanics of these kinds of devices, pointed out why the official account simply doesn't hold up. According to him, operating something that complex isn't easy. It demands time, precision, and specialized tools, none of which could realistically be used under the chaotic conditions described that day. That's why Joe stated bluntly, there's something off about this story. He explained that handling such an old, intricate piece of machinery would require equipment like specialized wrenches or cold forging tools, things not easily accessible to a random 21-year-old. Even for an expert, disassembling and reassembling something like that would take much longer than just a few minutes. And then Joe raised another crucial point. How did the young man even manage to reach the rooftop in the first place? There was supposed to be security, surveillance, drones, a clear line of sight to a crowded public space, yet no one noticed him? It doesn't add up. Joe's verdict was simple. The story doesn't make sense. The pieces just don't fit. As he continued breaking down the inconsistencies, the bigger picture became even more unsettling. Joe suggested that sometimes, if someone wants the public to lose confidence in the truth, they deliberately scatter contradictions and confusion. All it takes, he said, is a few loose ends. A strange witness, a mysterious figure who appears and disappears, and a handful of conflicting details. That's how you create controlled chaos. But while people were still arguing over what really happened that day, something else began stealing the spotlight. Something far more personal and far more controversial. Now let's talk about Erika Kirk, Charlie's newly widowed wife. Picture this. Your partner has just died in a devastating public tragedy witnessed by hundreds. Only a few days have passed. Most people would be numb with grief, unable to sleep, eat, or even find words. But for Erika, the reaction was very different. Just days after Charlie's passing, she appeared in front of cameras at Turning Point USA headquarters. And this is where the entire controversy began. Watch closely, because what happens in this clip changed everything. Erika walks in holding Charlie's Medal of Freedom, smiling, not a faint, polite smile, but a bright, confident, genuine one. She addresses the staff with energy, saying that they are all part of Charlie's legacy. Her tone is calm, her eyes shining, even joyful. Of course, everyone processes trauma differently. Maybe she was trying to stay strong, or maybe she was still in shock. But when you compare her demeanor to how most people react after losing someone so close, the contrast is undeniable. One comment under that video summed up what millions were thinking. Everyone grieves differently, but no one grieves like her. And that line went viral. It captured the public mood perfectly. The confusion, the disbelief, the unease. But that moment wasn't isolated. More footage began to surface, and when you line them up, they start to form a very different picture, one that raised even more uncomfortable questions. In another clip that surfaced later, Erika is seen arriving at an event, this time in tears, stepping out of her car, a completely different tone, as if the story had flipped overnight.
At first glance, it seemed like a tender moment, a grieving woman trying to hold herself together after a tragedy. But the internet doesn't miss a thing. Soon, viewers began dissecting every frame of that clip. Look at her expression. Look at her gestures. Is this genuine sorrow or the performance of someone trying to appear heartbroken? Within hours, social media exploded. Comments poured in with phrases like bad acting and crying on cue. People even started comparing Erika's expressions to movie scenes where actresses fake their tears. From that point on, the debate surrounding Erika Kirk, her smile, her tears, her composure, had officially begun. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about judging grief. No one has the right to decide how another person should mourn. But when you watch the footage, something about it just feels off. Not necessarily her actions or her words, but the atmosphere itself. There's this faint, inexplicable tension that makes you stop and think, what exactly am I looking at? No one can put a finger on it, but deep down, your instincts whisper that something isn't right. And maybe that's all it is. Intuition, not evidence. Of course, we could all be wrong. Maybe this is just Erika's way of coping with unimaginable loss, a way that doesn't fit society's idea of mourning. Because, yes, grief looks different for everyone. Some break down, some go silent, some try to smile to keep from falling apart. Perhaps Erika is simply doing what she can to stay composed while the entire world watches her every move. But if we truly want to understand what's happening here, we need to compare, not to criticize, but to recognize the emotional difference. Because sometimes, only when two moments are placed side by side can we sense the boundary between genuine composure and unsettling detachment. Think back to when Kobe Bryant passed away. The world stood still, but the deepest pain wasn't seen in headlines or public tributes. It was written on the face of Vanessa Bryant, the woman who lost not only her husband, but also her daughter in the very same moment. That kind of pain defies language. Vanessa vanished from the public eye for weeks. No interviews, no social media, no statements. And when she finally reappeared, her silence spoke louder than any words could. You could see everything in her expression, the emptiness, the heartbreak, the unbearable weight of loss. It was raw, real, and impossible to imitate.
We have so many amazing things down the pipeline.
Fail in due time.
I am so excited.
I miss you, all of you, every day. I love you.
On one side, you have Vanessa Bryant, struggling to hold herself together. Her hands tremble, her voice breaks, her eyes overflow with grief. It's a moment so painfully human that anyone watching could feel her sorrow. And then on the other side stands Erika Kirk, calm, poised, smiling as she speaks about legacy, about moving forward, about blessings and new opportunities ahead. Every sentence, every word sounded less like someone mourning a husband and more like a leader delivering a speech about the future. It was that contrast between a woman drowning in visible grief and another radiating composure that left people speechless, not because they wanted to attack, but because no one quite knew how to interpret it. Was it strength or emotional numbness? Was it resilience or something deeper, harder to explain? No matter which side you fall on, one thing is certain. The difference between Vanessa Bryant and Erika Kirk became one of the most debated images on the internet in recent memory. Because this isn't just about two women, it's about something bigger: authenticity, pain, and the strange way emotions are interpreted when the whole world is watching through a lens. And it was around this time that the internet gave Erika a new, unsettling nickname: the Happy Widow. Cruel? Yes, deeply. But when you line up all those clips and watch them together, it's not hard to see why the phrase spread so quickly. Not because people wanted to mock her, but because her reactions defied everything most people associate with grief. Because at the end of the day, there's one universal truth everyone can agree on. Grief has no rule book. There's no formula, no predictable pattern. Every human being faces tragedy in their own way. Some people mourn in silence, others cry. Some find solace in prayer, while others bury themselves in work. But there's a fine line between grieving differently and showing no visible signs of grief at all. And that's what makes Erika Kirk's behavior so perplexing to the public. It's not just that she's composed, it's that she's radiant. She's smiling, energetic, almost glowing. It feels less like a woman emerging from heartbreak and more like someone stepping confidently into a new chapter of life. Her words are about blessings, about the future, about continuing a legacy. And through it all, her voice remains bright, steady, even enthusiastic, not the voice of someone shattered by tragedy. After Charlie Kirk's sudden death, someone had to tell the helm of Turning Point USA, the very organization he built from the ground up. Naturally, that person was Erika. From an organizational standpoint, it made sense, but emotionally, it's a heavy mantle to carry. Running your late husband's life's work, becoming the face of his legacy while still processing the loss itself. Most people in that position might approach it with quiet dignity, maybe humility, or at least a hint of hesitation, but Erika's tone is nothing like that. It's confident, upbeat, even excited. In fact, she says it outright. I'm excited. It's weird to say I'm excited, but I am. And that's the line that stunned everyone. Because this wasn't a business conference or a launch event. It was a memorial for her husband. She spoke about being blessed, about the many wonderful projects ahead, about the great things waiting for us. Every smile, every gesture, every word radiated optimism. And that's exactly what left audiences unsettled. Soon, the internet took over. TikTok clips, YouTube breakdowns, everyone was analyzing her tone, her pace, her expressions. Frame by frame, they examined how her eyes seemed to brighten when she talked about new opportunities, yet stayed still when she mentioned Charlie's death.
One commenter remarked, "She doesn't sound like someone who's lost her husband, she sounds like someone who just got a promotion." And soon, that sentiment spread like wildfire. Hundreds echoed the same thought, and before long, the word promotion had turned into a viral meme. Social media users began remixing her videos, overlaying upbeat music and captions suggesting that Erika seemed to be celebrating a career milestone rather than mourning a personal tragedy. But beneath all the mockery, something even more unsettling unfolded. Erika didn't just talk about taking over Turning Point USA, she unveiled a plan she claimed would keep Charlie's presence alive. In another video, she announced her intention to continue using Charlie Kirk's social media accounts to keep sharing his ideas, messages, and beliefs as if his voice never went silent. At first glance, it might seem like a heartfelt gesture, a widow honoring her late husband by keeping his legacy alive online. Yet, as the clip went viral, the internet split into two opposing sides. Some defended her, saying her actions stemmed from love and devotion, an effort to ensure Charlie's presence would continue to inspire others. But others found it disturbing, even manipulative. Critics questioned whether continuing to post under Charlie's name was truly an act of remembrance or a form of deception. Some described it as emotional detachment, others as an unsettling blur between tribute and exploitation. And so, a new controversy was born. Was Erika truly preserving her husband's memory, or subtly reshaping it to fit her own narrative? By now, suspicion had begun to root deep, but suspicion, of course, is not the same as proof.
To dig deeper into what was really going on, people turned to an expert, someone who could read human behavior frame by frame. Enter Dr. G, a well-known body language analyst who spent hours studying footage of Erika Kirk, breaking down every glance, every movement, every fleeting expression. And what she found was nothing short of fascinating. The first major observation was something known as the Duchenne smile, the kind of smile that can't be faked. It's the smile of genuine happiness, one that engages not just the lips, but the eyes. When Erika spoke about Charlie's dream and her plan to carry it forward, that same authentic smile appeared. The tiny crinkles around her eyes revealed that this wasn't a rehearsed expression. It was real. According to Dr. G, that moment was scientifically significant. It meant that Erika was genuinely feeling positive, even happy while discussing the role she inherited after her husband's passing. And that's what raised eyebrows, because only days after losing her partner, she wasn't displaying signs of grief, but rather of joy and excitement. It was, to say the least, highly unusual.
But Dr. G's analysis didn't stop there. As Erika began outlining her vision for Turning Point USA, talking about upcoming plans, new projects, and the organization's bright future, her entire demeanor shifted. Her eyes sharpened, her voice grew firmer, her posture straightened. Gone was the gentle tone of a grieving widow. In its place stood the composure and command of a leader. Dr. G concluded that Erika wasn't merely going through the motions or reading from a script. She appeared driven, focused, and deeply invested. It was as if she had fully stepped into the role, not reluctantly, but with purpose. And that's when the question began to surface everywhere. Was Erika Kirk transforming her pain into ambition, or concealing ambition behind the mask of pain? The next layer of analysis turned out to be one of the most controversial discoveries in the entire story. It all began when a TikTok user, known for their meticulous eye, uploaded a detailed breakdown of Erika Kirk's behavior. And once you see what they pointed out, it's hard to unsee it. In the video, Erika is shown stepping onto the stage at a memorial event, but not just any memorial. The atmosphere was charged with fireworks, dramatic lighting, and cinematic music. A spectacle that felt less like a tribute and more like a stage production. Viewers immediately began to ask the uncomfortable question: was this a memorial or a media performance? To be fair, maybe the grandeur wasn't Erika's idea. Perhaps the organizers had planned it that way. But what came next in the analysis made that defense harder to hold. The TikTok user replayed Erika's emotional moments on stage, slowing them down frame by frame, and noticed something unsettling. While Erika appeared to cry, no actual tears ever fell. Not a single streak of mascara, not a wet cheek. Her makeup was perfect, her face untouched. Yet the sobs, the choked sounds, and the trembling voice were all there. It looked, as the analyst put it, like a crying performance, a meticulously timed display of sorrow. Even more curious, her gestures seemed perfectly synchronized with the music. When the emotional score swelled, she covered her face. When it softened, she raised her head and gazed dramatically into the distance. Every movement matched the rhythm, like a choreographed act of grief. Of course, one could argue that trauma sometimes leaves a person unable to cry, that maybe Erika had shed all her tears long before the cameras rolled. But when you align this moment with everything else, her bright smiles, her high energy, her enthusiastic speeches about the future, the overall picture starts to feel staged. One viewer summed it up bluntly: this isn't grief, this is a performance. And thousands agreed. To them, nothing about that frame felt genuine. It didn't show a widow in mourning, it showed a woman controlling the scene, aware of every lens, every light, every angle. At that point, many began to wonder, was this still a story about loss, or had it transformed into a carefully directed act, crafted to shape how the world remembers it?
The expert breakdowns, the body language dissection, the endless comparisons to real grieving widows, every frame, every gesture, every look has been examined under a microscope. And now, we circle back to where it all began, Joe Rogan. While the internet remains obsessed with whether Erika Kirk smiled too brightly, cried without tears, or sounded too cheerful about the future, Joe's focus lies somewhere else entirely. He's not just questioning her behavior, he's questioning the entire narrative surrounding Charlie Kirk's death. According to Joe, Erika's strange composure might not be the real mystery. It might just be one small piece of a much larger puzzle, one crafted to keep the public lost in confusion. He suggests that when powerful forces want you to stop asking questions, they don't necessarily hide the truth. Instead, they bury it under layers of noise. They flood you with contradictions, mismatched details, conflicting reports, and half-truths that cancel each other out. They create a reality so tangled that no one can tell what's real anymore. You'll see a suspect acting strangely, a witness contradicting themselves, official statements that shift day by day until the chaos becomes the story and the truth fades quietly into the background. And right in the middle of that chaos stands Erika Kirk, not as a grieving widow, but as someone who seems eerily composed, calm, even purposeful, almost like a CEO stepping into a promotion, not a woman mourning her husband's death. That's when Joe Rogan asks the question that no one, not the experts, not the fans, not the critics, can answer with certainty. What if the confusion itself is the plan? Is this all just coincidence, or part of something bigger? Because it's hard to imagine that in the middle of all this confusion and chaos, one person could stand out, so calm, so radiant, so ready to step into the very role her husband left behind. So, what's really happening here? Is Erika simply processing grief in her own unusual way? Is she still in shock, disconnected from the weight of her loss? Or is she, as some believe, wearing a mask, presenting strength to the public while her real emotions remain buried deep inside? Then there are others who think something far more unsettling, that maybe, just maybe, Erika isn't broken at all, but energized by her newfound power. That behind the calm exterior lies ambition, not anguish. And for those who listen to Joe Rogan, the theory grows even darker. What if this isn't about grief or ambition at all? What if it's part of a larger design, a narrative so carefully constructed that even the main players don't realize they're part of it? No one knows for sure, and maybe that's what makes it so disturbing. Because when a person loses someone they love, you don't usually have to wonder if they're grieving. You see it, you feel it. The silence, the eyes, the heaviness in every breath. Pain has its own unmistakable language. But with Erika Kirk, that language feels rewritten. She smiles. She speaks of hope, of legacy, of new beginnings. And the audience, left watching in uneasy silence, can't help but wonder, is she truly mourning? Or has grief become something else entirely? That's what makes this story more than a tragedy. It's a mirror, reflecting how we, in the age of cameras and endless lenses, interpret human emotion. How sorrow can be packaged, replayed, and debated until it feels like a performance rather than a feeling. So before you scroll past another headline, remember this. Don't accept the edit. Don't trust the caption. Look closer. Because sometimes the truth doesn't vanish. It just hides quietly in the dark, waiting for those who still dare to ask questions.